The Podcasting Dead is available on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, and SoundCloud. Make sure to subscribe for more podcasts. And while you're at it, drop us a like. If you want to help support the channel and have access to extra content, secret contest, and more, make sure to search for us on Patreon. Patreon.com/thepodcastingdead.
Oh, it's Walking Dead Monday.
Yeah, it is, man. It sure enough is.
Walking Dead Monday. If you're new to the podcast, just randomly found this audio floating around somewhere on YouTube or iTunes or SoundCloud, allow me to introduce myself. I'm Justin, and this handsome fellow across from me is JP.
No, you're making me blush now.
That was my intention.
Just stop it.
That was my intention. I'm trying to get some free breakfast this morning.
Oh, shucks.
So what we do is we podcast about a little bit of everything, but of course, every Monday we podcast about The Walking Dead, which is probably why you clicked on this. So without further ado, JP, you're kind of taking charge on this one because I saw the articles over the weekend, but I didn't click on one about the origin of the zombie virus. I guess if it's a virus, the zombie outbreak on The Walking Dead. Robert Kirkman confirmed or something. Take it away.
Yeah, and it's really not much to it. They showed a little snippet from an interview he did a year or so ago where they asked him, will you ever reveal and he's been asked it a million times, I'm sure, you ever going to reveal what actually caused the zombie apocalypse?
Right.
And he just kind of casually was like, I might eventually, but if I do, it'll just be totally just randomly, out of the blue kind of thing. And then someone on Twitter was just like, the comic series is over, the TV show's winding down. Are you ever going to actually tell us what caused the zombie outbreak? And he just 2 words, space spores. That's all he put, space spores. So it's one of those things he hasn't commented further that I've seen, and I don't know if he was just goofing or if that's actually, But it does make you think because he did do that. It was a little. I can't remember what issue it was at the end of, but he did a little, goof side story where Rick wakes up again and it's totally in color and zombies have taken over and the governor's working with the aliens, and it was a really fun little side story.
Well, I've never read that. Or was that just like a little what if?
Yeah, it was in one of the actual issues. I don't think it's been reprinted in a trade, but it was right after. It was. I remember now. I'm pretty sure Michonne had just knocked him out. You remember they just got to
at the Alexandria,
and she knocks him out or something like that
because that was when he was fighting with Jesse's husband and
man, I think I'm right. I could be wrong about that. It's been a long time since I've read the comics, but it was around that era.
That's really cool. As someone who's read all of the comics and quite a bit of the side stories, I don't think I've read that, so I'll have to find that. That sounds really intriguing.
Yeah, dude. If I figure out what issue it is, I'll bring it in.
Yeah, please do. I would love to read that. Robert Kirkman isn't a stranger, though, to being sarcastic and even doing a little bit of trolling. Do you think that that's what he was doing with that?
I mean, it's hard to say, man. He might have just that maybe what he. I don't think he ever really had anything in mind as far as what, because he went on to say that what actually caused this has no impact on the story, no impact on the characters.
Right.
If you came to Alexandria and was like, "Hey, I'm a scientist. Did you happen to know that this whole undead thing is caused by space spores?" And they'd probably just shrug and be like, "Okay,
I feel both sides. As a fan, you wants to know, right? I gotta know. I want to know what happened. But at the same time, from Robert Kirkman's point, it's like that. I see what he means. That's irrelevant. It doesn't matter to the story. All that matters is that, because his whole point has always been that people are the real monsters, and it's one of those things where the hows of it and the specifics aren't important. He just kind of wanted this setting, this post-apocalyptic zombie-infested setting in which these people would fight and survive and such. So, I can see both sides. I definitely want to know, but I also understand that, And also, too, in zombie lore, we've had, Resident Evil, the Night of the Living Dead, what is it? What is that other zombie game? Dead Rising, 28 Days Later. All of them, we usually get explanations. So I'm fine if there's one that we don't.
Yeah, man. It was, and I did a little looking. It was at the end of issue 75, and it is right after Michonne, hits him with the rock.
Yeah, you'll have to bring that in for me, please.
Yeah, well, I'm actually getting ready to send you a couple images that'll pretty much tell you what you need to know. It's pretty wild, man. It's pretty crazy. It was a really fun thing to end a comic with.
Yeah, that's really cool. I can't wait to see that.
Oh yeah.
So that was just like a hallucination or dream or something he was having.
I mean, it wasn't even that. It was just a little fun thing for the fans at the end of the comic. It in no way had anything to do with anything.
Super cool.
And when you see what I'm sending you, you'll...
Let's see here. Oh, that's right. You did say it was all in color.
Yeah.
That's so cool, man. I'll have to... I can't wait to... Oh, wow. Michonne is decapitated by...
By the governor.
Is that Reverse Flash? Who's this yellow mask
That's
guy?
Rick. Rick is like, they even put him in like a straight up superhero costume. And check out who's grasping at
Lori.
Yeah, Lori. Because like the whole thing is like the aliens have been bringing back the dead. Like Herschel is in this little side story. It's really fun.
You've got to bring me that, man. I want to read the whole thing. That's super cool.
I'll dig it up.
Space Spores makes sense, though. I mean, from a writing perspective, that's probably the easiest way to do it. I mean, to explain how we all came to be infected is gotta be a tough task. I mean, it's one of those things. It's a really cool twist on the zombie genre. When he did that, when he made the reveal both in the comics and in the show that we're all infected. Like, that was a cool twist, because it's usually, no, you have to get bit to get infected, and that's it. But then the fact that people can use other people like ticking time bombs by killing them and waiting for them to come back was super cool. But then the bad part of that was if you have to explain how we all got infected, right. I imagine that would be quite a task. Space spores makes sense. I guess just cosmic winds brought them into our atmosphere. I don't know how they didn't burn up upon entry unless they're just able to.
Or maybe like a asteroid, like someone's exploring a cave and an asteroid that's been embedded in the earth for like 1 million years. These dormant space spores, they disturb them.
And then just kicked up into the atmosphere and were dispersed all over the planet. Because, I mean, it is hard to ponder, like, how would you infect an entire planet's population?
You're right.
With the same, I just, to me, that just sounds like a really hard thing to do. And so, and apparently some people are taking it pretty serious, though, because I saw multiple articles, like in my suggested, like on Google and on Facebook, about, I didn't click on it, to be honest with you, because we've heard, different theories for so long that I just thought this was kind of rehashing stuff from back at the beginning, because Robert Kirkman explained that he basically, in order to get AMC to take the show, they were like, we want to know, though, the zombie thing's kind of, we want to know, like, how did this happen? Blah, blah, blah. We need more. And he was like, well, there's going to be a plot twist where you find out aliens were responsible for this. And that's what got AMC to sign on with the show. And then, of course, after the success, they were like, you were never going to do aliens, were you? He was like, nope. But space spores, I could dig that.
Yeah, man. I mean, good a cause as any, right?
If there was some foreign extraterrestrial spore or microscopic thing, who knows how it would react with our bodies. So perhaps it could cause our dead bodies to kind of, or at least our brain stems to reignite when we die. And
oh, man, I got to correct myself, man.
Correct yourself.
I said that Herschel was in that little all-color like side story thing. It was Axel. It wasn't Herschel. It was I got their names
cool.
mixed.
Yeah.
Axel.
Well, I mean, they're both older guys, gray hair.
Me?
You follow me?
You follow me? Yeah.
Oh man, I'm gonna tell you what. The Axel in the show was okay. Mm-hmm. But man, I wish they would have stuck, the way they did in the comic.
Yeah, just a big burly biker looking kind of guy. Yeah,
big burly.
That was one thing, like casting wise, I was kind of disappointed with.
It's like we know that some characters they don't do justice, but Axel was one. If you've never read the comics, let me just say, Axel in the show and Axel in the comic, man, completely different. Mm-hmm. Axel in the comic was just this big burly Santa looking, biker dude who was in there he might have been in there for the same thing. It's been so long since I've read the comic, but just in there for something little. And he was super, super cool. He said, you follow me, pretty much every bubble. And I think who was he? He was shacking up with Patricia at one point, right?
I believe
Otis's
sure
lady.
They banged like right before the final battle because they were just like, we're probably going to die anyway. Might as well, and
we'll get back to the origin, but real quick, I just want to kind of speculate too. I went back recently and read the comics. Well, I started. I haven't gotten all the way back through the entire thing. I think I'm in I'm right before they meet the governor. But it's funny how Otis, Otis was a lot different in the comic than the show too. Otis in the show was this big burly Axel-looking dude almost, minus the hair. And in the comic, he was this little skinny farmhand. But all the way up to this point, he's portrayed as kind of a good guy. I think he saves Michonne at one point, right? Isn't it him that rides up on the horse and sees her kind of surrounded and
yeah, that sounds right.
Helps her. He's done a lot of good stuff. And out of nowhere, him and Patricia break up, and she starts messing with one of the prison people who happens to be an African American guy. And Otis, this good guy the whole time, just gets racist all of a sudden.
Yeah.
He just throws out the N-bomb. And I'm like, after reading it that consecutively, all together, I'm like, that's a little out of character. Well, I feel like Robert Kirkman just took a left turn with this guy. But anyways, back to the origin. So space spores, like you said, it's as good a reason as any.
Yeah, if it's not that, you almost have to go with something kind of supernatural, like a biblical revelation kind of thing,
Oh, yeah.
So it's either you blame it on the aliens or you blame it on Jesus,
I tell you what, I tell you something easy. You could say a solar flare caused a dormant gene in our DNA to kick in. Kind of like how X-Men, the whole plot is that we have these genes. It's just some people, they've lain dormant for so long where some people's are activating. I mean, you could do something. Gamma radiation swept through the universe and, activated this gene within humans.
Yeah, they used something like that in The Dead Don't Die. It had something to do with the moon, and I think they tied in global warming or something like that.
Of course. Didn't you say, well, no, I don't know if you said it. I was going to say, who was it?
That The Dead Don't Die suck. Yeah, that was.
Yes, that was you that said that. Yes, you did, and I take your word for it. I think that while we differ, we differ on some things, but I think it's pretty safe to say that the vast majority of the time, there are a few times when you suggest something, and I don't like it. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think our tastes are similar in movies and shows, but I'm trying to think of other origins that we've talked about that, I've heard it was something you said a while back, man, and now I'm drawing a complete blank. But if I think about it, we'll come back to it. But I really don't know if it's space spores. Maybe it was you that said something like The Happening. Maybe it's one of those things where we're destroying the planet, so the planet basically is having us eradicate ourselves. That's. I mean, in this scenario, that'd be pretty cool to know that the planet's kind of
like a sentient organism.
We have white blood cells in our body that fight off infection and stuff. Just similar to that way, the Earth has these, I don't know, pheromones, something that can be released in nature, and it basically infects humans. And when we die, we start destroying ourselves. Yeah, I mean that's a stretch, I know, but this is just kind of having fun with different ideas because we now know what might be the accepted. So it's kind of fun to play with different ways you could have made that work.
Yeah, and there's always the classic Breaking Bad tie-in that Walter White, cooked up some meth.
That would be the best.
I know that's been floating around for years and years and years, but that's always a fun idea.
He wasn't lying when he said, "I am the danger."
Yeah, destroyed all of humanity.
Man, meth. I mean, as if that's not already destroying humanity.
Yeah, it's not the healthiest picker-upper, that's for sure.
Try some coffee, man.
Yeah.
Monster energy drinks, if you don't mind the shakes that come along with them. I mean, they give you plenty of energy.
You'll keep more of your teeth.
And then, I don't know, man. The Monster's got a lot of sugar.
Yeah, and I was just reading something that, I don't know if they were talking about one particular, but, energy drinks increases your risk of stroke by 500%.
Jesus, really?
It was something like that.
Damn, I need to quit drinking them then. Jesus, man.
Which you don't drink them a lot. But.
No, I don't. I'm not one of those, I have to have one every day. I have coffee every day and then maybe once or twice a week. When I go to Target shoot or I go do some activity, I like to get an energy drink.
Yeah, there was a while, man, I was living off Red Bulls at the grocery store, but I cut it out. I read about the stroke thing. So that's been out there for a while. But
it was a while when I was living off Monster Energy, man, I'm going to tell you. But let us know what you think about the possibility of us now knowing what started the zombie apocalypse. Are you happy with the idea of space spores? Do you think it should be something more? Do you think that, let us know in the comments section how you feel about that. And I believe it's about as close as we're ever going to get to an explanation from Robert Kirkman, so why not just make it canon?
Yeah, I'll be interested to see if he addresses it like next time he does like a panel or something, to Comic-Con. But I'm just ready for it to come back on the air. So
dude, my Sunday nights feel so pointless without The Walking Dead.
Well, I'm not gonna lie, dude. The only TV shows I'm really even thinking about right now is Star Trek Picard. First episode blew my socks off, and Curb Your Enthusiasm's back on TV.
Oh, that's cool.
First episode of that. I haven't seen the second one yet, but
that's your jam.
Yeah, I love me some Larry David, the mastermind behind Seinfeld.
Oh, yes.
But yeah, good
Don't
stuff.
forget, check out our Patreon, patreon.com/thepodcastingdead. For as little as $1 a month, you can get extra podcasts and extra content, as well as secret contests and merchandise and more. So check that out again, patreon.com/thepodcastingdead. If you like what you heard, please hit that subscribe button. If you're on YouTube, give us a like, and make sure to let you know when we post new content. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow on Patreon, and if we don't see you there, then we'll see you on Wednesday for Weird Wednesday.
Yep.
I'm Justin.
I'm JP.
And we're the Podcasting Dead.